The Along the Routes event is starting around the world in Pokemon Go, and today, as always, we're going to cover everything you need to know about this event and some tips. Let's get into it. So this event is December 5th at 10 a.m. to December 8th at 8 p.m., so only 4 days long. Bonus to the event will have half egg incubator distance, 3 times XP for spinning Pokestops, 5 times XP for spinning a Pokestop for the first time, and 2 times dust for opening gifts. We'll also see the introduction of an NPC into Pokemon Go called Mateo, which you can find near the end of routes in Pokemon Go. If you interact with Mateo, he will be waiting for you with some gifts he's collected from trainers around the world. You can then go ahead and input one of your gifts, and it will go ahead and wonder trade that gift, in which you could receive gifts and 7-kilometer eggs from Pokemon all around the world. This is also great for the Vivillon medal, which we'll talk about later. In simple, think of it as wonder trading, but with Pokemon Go gifts. And you can only participate in a gift exchange once per day with Mateo, but Mateo will stay in the game after this event, so this is a whole new feature coming. We'll also see Pokestop showcases during the event for both Sneasel and Hisuian Sneasel, as well as wild spawns for Slugma, Hitmontop, Spoink, Phoebus, Lillipup, Woobat, Emolga, Wooloo, and Palmy. 7-kilometer eggs during the event will be hatching Hisuian Growlithe, Togepi, Sneasel, Hisuian Sneasel, Bonsly, and Esper. Yes, you did notice Hisuian Sneasel is the new shiny for this event, which is a pretty nice shiny. Now, we also have some exclusive research going down during the event. Starting with the field research task, we have the task, send 3 gifts and add a sticker to each for an Eevee, trade a Pokemon for the Hisuian Sneasel, hatch an egg for a Wooloo, send a gift to a friend for 5 Pokeballs, and earn a candy walking your buddy for 5 Great Balls. We'll also have the Along the Routes timed research task. You can check it out on screen. It does get you 2 checks with that new Hisuian Sneasel, which is going to be great if you want to try to get that shiny. Finally, there is a special research story that will teach you about the new NPC Mateo and about exchanging gifts through routes, but it seems like Mateo is glitched right now and he's not really appearing in game, so we don't really have that special research yet, but I will link below LeakDuck if you want to check it out when it does get confirmed. But do note, as for every new feature, it's having a couple issues. With the event details out of the way, let's get right into the tips, starting with, of course, what are the best wild spawns during the event. First of all, let's take a look at Slugma, which evolves into Magcargo, good in some limited Great League metas. Hitmontop's also pretty good in the Great League, which is not a bad Pokemon to grab. You also see Phoebus in there, which can evolve into Milotic, which does see some play in the Master League Premier Cup. Emolga's in there, which does see some play in the Flying Cup in Pokemon Go PvP. And finally, Wooloo in there, which evolves into Double. Double is good in the Great League and the Ultra League, really strong this season because it doesn't have a lot of counters. Now let's move on to the 7-kilometer eggs. What are the best ones to try to hatch during this event, and are they worth it? Well, in the 7-kilometer eggs, Pokemon worth going after will be Togepi, which evolves into Togekiss, good in the Master League and good as a Fairy type raid attacker. Sneasel's in there, which evolves into Weavile. Weavile is a good Ice and Dark type raid attacker. Hisuian Sneasel's in there, which evolves into Sneasler. Sneasler does see some play in the Ultra League if you hatch it from eggs. Sneasel is not the worst Pokemon for the Ultra League, so you can use it there, but mostly just hunting that one for the shiny. Overall, the 7-kilometer eggs do have that new shiny Sneasel, but they're not the greatest to go after. So personally, I would just use your free incubators unless you need that Hisuian Sneasel, but you can also, of course, go after it in the field research like we talked about. Now, one thing no one I find is talking about during this event is a sneaky way to grind a lot of XP, and that's going to be through going to a new city and spinning Pokestops that you haven't spun. If you don't know, a Pokestop with a halo is considered a new Pokestop, and we have 5 times XP for spinning those stops during this event. Spinning a new Pokestop normally gets you 3,000 XP. During this event, times 5, that's 1,500 XP. And on a lucky egg, you're looking at 3,000 XP plus for spinning new Pokestops. As long as there's the Pokestops, you could very much spin 200 in an hour, which equates to around 600,000 XP from just spinning. So if you do have a city or you're going on a trip or there's a city nearby that you haven't spun a lot of Pokestops in, drop a lucky egg, go in there, spin as many as you can, and grind XP. It's great for your low-level trainers. But another thing you can go after during this event is going to be candy. And let's go through the best ways to grind it. Number 1, using Pineapple Berries on Pokemon in the wild during this event. Regular Pineapple Berries will multiply your catch candy by 2 and Silvers by 2.34. You can also go ahead and, of course, Mega Evolve a Pokemon during this event to get more candies. Looking at the spawns in the wild, the Pokemon that I think is the most meta relevant to grind and have a Mega active for is going to be Wooloo. So Mega Evolving a normal type like Pidgeot, like Lopunny, like Mega Kangaskhan are all going to be the best to go for. I would definitely have one of those Mega so you can grind those Wooloo XL candies for an Ultra League double. But once you cash those Wooloos, another way to grind candies is to trade. During the season of Timeless Travels, every time you trade away a Pokemon, you'll get 1 extra candy and 1 guaranteed XL candy, which is amazing to grind candies. The distance does not need to be far between the Pokemon being traded. Catch 100 Wooloos, trade 100 Wooloos away, that's 100 XL Wooloo candies, which is huge gains. Don't sleep on it because Wooloo does not come around as a spawn often. Finally, go ahead and transfer Pokemon, which specifically on December 12th from 6 to 7 p.m. is Seal Spotlight Hour with the bonus of 2 times transfer candy. So save any Pokemon you've been meaning to transfer until then, transfer them then, you'll get more candies than normal. Finally, that moves us into our last section of the video, platinum medal tips. You need 35 platinum medals, go from level 48 to 49 in Pokemon Go. Which one should you grind during this event? First of all, of course, take a look at all the type medals here. If there's any of these medals you haven't completed, definitely work on them during this event. For example, you know, the psychic type medal, you can catch those Woobats in the wild. We also, of course, do have the 7-kilometer eggs. So if you do plan to hatch them, you will be working on your breeder medal. There's also half egg incubator distance. You can hatch 2-kilometer eggs in only 1 kilometer, which can be good to work on this medal if you haven't completed it. Also good for Stardust. We also have the Sight Seer medal, spin 2,000 unique Pokestops. Like I mentioned before, if you're going to a new city to grind XP, this medal will be being complete as you do that. So you can do 2-in-1, complete this medal and grind XP. Of course, we have the Pavilion medal. If you go to Mateo and you go ahead and receive gifts from all around the world, you can go ahead and pin those gifts from around the world to get different, you know, Pavilion powers that you haven't completed. For example, the Tundra, I have 0 of. So if Mateo gives me a gift from the Tundra, I'll pin it and I can work on my Pavilion medal. Definitely pin all those gifts you get from Mateo. Finally, of course, we have those showcases for Sneasel and Hisuian Sneasel. So work on your showcase star medal, win 100 Pokestop showcases. Again, always drop in showcases outside the city if at all possible, because there's just going to be less competition. It's going to be easier to win, but if you can still win the one in cities, go for it, but they can be tough sometimes. Nonetheless, that is my tips for the Along the Routes event. Let me know if you're excited for this event, if you're going to be playing it, or just waiting for the more exciting events coming later in the month, and follow for more tips. Peace.